Hello, my name is Ana Zuniga and I am taking Biology 2401 with Dr. Piem, and today I will be identifying the skull markings, the vertebral column, the bony thorax, and the appendicular skeleton. I'm going to start off with the skull, and we have the cranium, the frontal bone, the parietal bones, and then we have our temporal bone, the zygomatic process, the mastoid process, and the occipital bone, the foramen magnum, and then we have the occipital protuberance, and then we have the superior orbital fissure and the inferior orbital fissure, and then we have the lacrimal bones, and we have the lacrimal fossa, and then we have the maxilla, the zygomatic bone, and the hard palate, which is this right here, the hard palate. And now we have the sutures. This is the coronal suture, lambdoidal suture, the squamosal suture, and the sagittal suture. And now we have the mandible, and this is the ramus of the mandible, the body of the mandible, and then we have the mandibular condyle, the coronoid process, and the as you can see. So again, this is the mandibular condyle, the coronoid process, and the mandibular notch. And then we have the hyoid bone, which would be, I don't know if you can see it. That would be this bone right here, the hyoid bone. And then we have the vertebrae, and the first 7 are the cervical. This is the atlas, and this is the axis. And then we have our thoracic region, and then we have our lumbar region, and this is the cervical, thoracic region, and the lumbar region, and this is the sacrum. The vertebrae parts are, this is the body of the vertebrae, this is the spinous process, and then this is the transverse process, and then we have the transverse foramen, which would be a little hole in here, and then we have the intervertebral foramen, which would be this right here, and then we have the intervertebral disc. And now we have our sternum, which is composed of the manubrium, the body, and the xiphoid process. Then we have our ribs, and these the first 7 are the true ribs, and these 8 to 12 would be the false ribs. And then we have our clavicle, and this is the clavicle sternal end. This is the clavicle acromion end, and then we have the acromion clavicular joint. Then we have our scapula, I'm sorry, and this would be the glenoid cavity, the acromion process. This would be the spine, and we have the infraspinous fossa, the supraspinous fossa, and then we have the subscapular fossa. And then we have our humerus, which is this bone right here. And we have the head, the greater trabersal, the lesser trabersal, the coronoid fossa, the olecranon fossa, and then the lateral epicondyle, the medial epicondyle. And then we have our radius and our ulna, and this is the olecranon process. And we have the carpal bones here, and these are our metacarpals, and these are our phalanges, which is the proximal, middle, and distal. And then we have our pelvis. And here we have the ilium, and this is the iliac crest, the iliac fossa, the anterior superior iliac spine, the sacroiliac joint, and then we have our ischium, and this would be the ischial tuberosity, and then we have our pubis, and this is the pubis symphysis. This is the acetabellum, and this is the obturator foramen. Then we have our femur, and this is the head, this is the neck, this is the greater trochanter, this is the lesser trochanter, and this is our lateral epicondyle, medial epicondyle, and the patella surface, which would be this right here, the patella surface. And then we have our tibia. We have our tibia here, and this would be the anterior crest. This is the tibial tuberosity, the medial malleolus, and this would be our fibula, and this is the lateral malleolus. This is our tarsus, and this would be our talus. This would be our calcaneus, and our metatarsals here. And then we have the phalanges. And as you can see, this would be our proximal, middle, and distal. Again, my name is Ana Zuniga, and I am taking Biology 2401 with Dr. Dr. Paez Abaloy.